stuff occurs not actually because of money. This all occurs because of worth. But we attach money to worth and then we complicate things. We make a knot with two strings that were never supposed to be tied together. So if we actually look at how this started, we first started all this, you telling me if you could make $10,000 a week, you would feel different. Then we brought it down. We said 30, you'd be good, 20, you'd be good, 10, you'd be good. But then we went right back up to 10 a week. And then we realized that was $500,000. So then you realize, oh, actually 60 would be fine. Then we realized you were also fine at 40. 40 is not even $1,000 a week. It's not money that's the issue.
No.
No. Now, beyond that, if you have an attachment to not having enough for something, that attachment will show up no matter how much money you make. What I mean by this is the same shame you feel at the grocery store, you feel it at the car dealership when the car is $7,000 outside your price range. You feel it when you go to the realtor and the house is $40,000 above your savings. You feel it at the university when it's $2,000 a month more than you were planning on paying for your kids' education. You feel it in much bigger places. You feel it when there's an opportunity for an investment, but you're short $800,000 in your portfolio to qualify for this incredible opportunity. And if you would have just not made those few mistakes, you'd have the $800,000 and it'd qualify you. It does not go away. So there has to be an ability to not have everything you want and not feel shame for that. I've got to put the milk back. I'm going to drive this car instead of that car. This house is not in the cards for us. This is not the school I get to go to. This will always be a complicated decision, even if you're a millionaire. Even if you were the most rich person in the world and it was like, well, you could build on Mars or you could save a country for a few years, but you can't do both. You'd feel guilty you can't do both.
Right.
So the first step, we have to process the shame around I can't have everything. Because the only reason we think we should be able to have everything is a very child thing that people say, when you're a grown up, you can have whatever you want. And we code that in like I should be able to. That's not true. When I'm a grown up, I need to be able to choose. So if there's not enough for 3 avocados, plus the milk, plus the fresh coffee, plus the new laundry detergent, plus the loaf of bread and the muffins and the things, and I put a few things back and I come back in 3 days, I need to be able to handle my shame around that and not make myself a victim of these circumstances because I am powerful at choosing and I choose these ingredients for today. That's it. I am unshameable about the rest. Can you feel that that could be accessible right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Now I'm going to ask you another question. In your intimacy with your husband, do you feel there has been a decline since you've become an entrepreneur?
100%.
Okay. So as you see yourself as the reason he is stressed, you have changed the way you see him. Instead of looking up to him like a powerful, successful provider, sexy, incredible partner, you feel guilt. You feel not enough. You feel fear that he's mad at you for not having made as much money as you hoped you would. You're afraid he holds it against you that you've made investments on yourself and they haven't paid off as fast and that he might be mad with you and that the connection is broken. You're feeling shame between the two of you. So you're spending all your time trying to fix the shame instead of seeing him in his absolute glorious provider, incredible husband self.
Yeah.
So when's the last time you literally looked at him and said, do you know how grateful I am for you and how safe I feel with you as my husband?
I do tell him how grateful I am a lot. I do say that, but not look him in the face and really say it with so much love and heart.
In a way that he would feel it instead of in a way that you're saying it so he doesn't think that you're not grateful.
Yes.
If you can build your gratitude for your husband, he will start making more money somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And then you will start feeling proud of yourself for your excellent choice in husband, your excellent choice in father for your kids, your excellent relationship. You'll start to feel abundant. The guilt will subside and you'll start to remember why you wanted to be an entrepreneur with dreams in the first place. Not to fix some sort of weird guilt you feel, but because there's people out there to help.
Yes.
Do you feel like the guilt you're hoping you can pay off your guilt towards your husband? If you actually just invested love and time and gratitude, that very fast, how you feel about your husband and how you feel he feels about you might start to change.
100%. Yes.
Okay. Now I'm going to ask you something else. What if, because of what you said today to me, I want to do a donation on your behalf to whichever cause you would have given to if you had the money? So you said to me, if I was making $5,000 a month, I would be giving. And so I will give $5,000 to whichever cause that you would have given to if you had the money. So you decide which one you want, and I will donate it on your behalf.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Okay.
So now here's how things start to move. You're not afraid of the milk not being available to be bought. You're no longer working with shame dynamics in your relationship. You're actually going with gratitude and love. And the money that you think should be given will be given. And to this point in this moment, you haven't needed to make one extra penny for any of that to happen.
That's amazing. Thank you.
It's my absolute pleasure. But I really want you to hear what I'm saying right now. You could have come up here and just talked to me about what you wish you had. You could have told me you wish you could buy purses. You could have told me you wish you could buy a jet. You could tell me you wish all things. But what you wished for was to not be stressed at the grocery store, to alleviate your husband, and for money to go where it's needed on this planet. Do you know how incredible that makes you?
Thank you.
So if you focus more on how incredible you are instead of all of this stuff that you've attached to money, you're an incredible person. You're a beautiful person. You're kind, you're generous, you're loving. You just don't want to feel like you're the reason anyone else isn't getting what they need. But you won't build what you were meant to build with that. You've got to be the reason people get what they need.
Yes.
So how you make sure people get what they need is you give your husband the love, the respect that he deserves, and that you'd be grateful now, not because you've got the money, because you've got the presence and the love and the everything to give it to him. You make sure people get what they need, because when you're in a real conversation with someone who can make a difference, your heart answers the real thing on your heart, which is so accessible to do. You could change so much in this world. You could raise funds for people. It doesn't even necessarily need to come from you. You could voice what you believe, and people could make donations. Like, it's not about the money. It's about who you are. Then the money is the byproduct of the person you become.
Yes.
And if from this point forward, you're walking with the knowing that, number one, you don't care whether there's enough for all the things in your basket or not. You'll choose at the end when you get there what you can have, period. Who cares? You and your relationship, you're solid, you're strong, you're in love, and you picked the right man. What a freaking blessing. And on top of that, because of you, whichever charity you choose will receive a $5,000 donation anyway. Then how do you want to build your business? From that place, who are you? From that place, what do you have to say? From that place, who do you want to tell? From that place.
Wow.
Because you in this moment, willing to face all of that and walking towards changing all that, this is the mentor that people hire. This is the people this is the entrepreneur people want to join forces with. This is the leader people want to walk with. This is the person people say, where are you going? Because I want to go. How did you do that? How did you think like that? How did you get to that? I want to know. Like, this is the energy, is when we move, people move. When we wait or we shame or we eat and we need someone else to say something or do something in order to fix it, we wait for a real long time because everybody else is also waiting for the same thing. This is why leaders are so necessary. Everybody's waiting on one. So I'm going to give you a similar coaching here for the rest of this phase of the experiment. You're really going to use what we're talking about and what we're doing in the coaching to look like, where is there a block and where action that I need to be taking here? In my business, if I want to serve people, like, I think it's something like $800 a week and you'll be making as much as you used to make at your other job, not 20,000. Like, you could be replacing your salary with not that many clients. So who do you really want to help and what can you do for them? And detach from money and let it be the thing you do for the world.
I'm going.
You can serve and how, and tell us, I made this move. I had an intuition. I did it. I was able to help a person. Sometimes it'll be a free live stream. Sometimes it'll be a free consult. Other time it'll be a paid offer. Other time it'll be a post, but whatever you feel called to give it, not because you're trying to make money, but because this is why you have a dream in the first place.
Yeah.
And then let's see what happens.
And I have circle tonight and I can't wait to go there now. I've had a really tough day, like a really, really hard day today. And you've just really helped me. So thank you so much. This is what I needed.
It's my pleasure. And I want to remind you that, like, you would have had every reason in the world to not come to this call because you've had a hard day and you had something after. This would have been a really easy one to skip. And then yet here you are. Just don't forget those things about you. This is the thing that makes the difference. Thank you so much for sharing everything with us. I really appreciate everything you shared.
Thank you so much.
So these were two pretty out of this world, extraordinary shares. And so here's where I want to go from this piece. What we're really seeing here is that when we talk things through at the highest possible frequency of thought, there's basically nothing that we can't untangle, because whatever shame we're feeling or whatever stories we're telling, they're tangled. They're not just squeaky clean truths. It's not like this is the truth. It's like this is the thing that happened, which I then attached to the thing I was feeling and created a knot about how what I feel and what is happening are entangled. And then because there's a knot and these two things got tied together, and obviously this thing and this thing happened to me, clearly the knot is my fault. So what do? The knot is my fault. I don't want there to be a knot, and I don't want it to be my fault. So let me hide the knot. But then when someone pulls on the string, and they will, when life pulls on the string, and it will, we tighten the knot. Why am I feeling resistance? Oh yeah, I hid the knot under the bed to try to pretend there wasn't a knot. Oh, I don't want there to be a knot. But now it's tighter than ever before. Yeah, no, put it back under the bed. Until someone pulls at the string, and they will. Until someone pulls at the knot, because they will, and then the knot tightens. So what is it really to experience shame? Is to experience a knot between two strings that were never supposed to have anything to do with each other in the first place. My worth as a person, and whether or not I need to put the milk back. How did I tie milk and my identity together? I did, all by myself, made a big old knot. And then when anyone ever talks about grocery shopping, or whenever everybody talks about women, and whenever everybody talks about money, and whenever everybody talks about anything that reminds me of this knot, and then I hide it under the bed one more time. But if we actually have a conversation about it, we just untangle the knot. Now, this doesn't mean that you're not going to make more knots because you're human and we're not making machines. We're like, here's an independent string from this independent string. How can I make sure I never lose them? How about I tie them together? We think it's a good idea in the moment to say, why did this happen to me? Oh, it was probably because of this. Oh, great, now I'm ashamed. Why did they say that to me? Probably because of this. Oh, now I'm ashamed. Why didn't this work out for me? Probably because of this. Oh, now I'm ashamed. Why did that person look at me like this? Probably because of this. Oh, now I'm ashamed. I'm literally taking two threads and making knots all day. What is shame work? Looking at the knot instead of hiding it under the bed and actually just untangling it. And then all of a sudden, you have two strings and you have the choice to do whatever you want. And on a day where you're tired, and on a day when you're not thinking about it, and on a day where old patterns resurface, you might create new knots. But if you untangle them when they show up, you will become unshameable. If you focus more on what's extraordinary about your life, you will make sure that the things stay separate. Now, when I ask questions in the group, and this is something that's very important because some of you have actually created knots about not having knots. Some of you are ashamed you don't have shame. Some of you are embarrassed. There's nothing good enough to be embarrassed about. So what I want you to remember in all this is that the people who are raising their hands have something right now. And so their stories are big and they're there and they're willing to talk about them. But if you're like, I don't have anything like this, you say, thank God. Thank God there's nothing like this today. But I'll keep this in mind if ever I make a knot. This is not an opportunity for you to be like, that knot was bigger than my knot. I don't think I even have a knot. I don't belong. If you don't have a knot, fantastic. Now, there is something else, which is that sometimes we spend more of our lives making sure the strings never touch, to make sure that there's never a knot. And the reason that we don't have a knot is because we're not living. So what that looks like is, well, I don't care about a business. I don't care about money. I don't have a relationship, but I'm okay. I'm fine. Just make sure the strings never touch. The strings touch because you're alive. Like your hair gets tangled because you're alive. Why do little kids have knots in their hair? Like I have never had knots in my hair past the age of 30. Why do these kids have knots in their hair? Because they're alive. Their hair's tangled because it's full of little dandruff and whatever pieces of sand and wood and twigs, little thistles in there. Their friend half braided it, then they got distracted and then something else, another kid got gum in it, and there's some glue on one side. Like, they're alive. So why do you have no knots? Well, maybe you're living so the strings don't touch. This also doesn't exactly quite work. Now you might have a knot just because I said that. I've been living like the strings don't touch. I was fast. Now I have a knot. So the fact is, knots are supposed to occur because we're alive. They're supposed to be entanglements because it just means you're living and you're not realizing that you've put two and two together. But living a life trying to not experience shame is not the same thing as living a life and facing shame when it comes. If you say to yourself, look, I am going to do my best at everything I can, I'm going to go for it. And if it doesn't work out, I'll face the shame. I'll untangle the knots. I'm going to love with all of my heart. And if things don't work out, I'll face the embarrassment, the shame, the sadness. I'll untangle the knots at that point. I'm not going to live a little less just in case. Love a little less just in case. Show up a little less just in case. Dream a little less just in case, just so the knots don't touch, just so the strings don't touch. I'm going to go for it. And if there is pain, I'll live it because I can handle it, because all it will be sitting with a knot and untangling it. And then I'll be free to live once more. There are certain things in your life that you answered today on today's call when I asked you, what are the things that keep you stuck? For some, it's money. For some, it's relationship. For some, it's health or body. For some, it's community. But I guarantee that where there is a knot, there's also a place where you're really afraid of facing whatever bad feelings you feel about that thing, and it makes you behave differently about it. Because it feels like a mountain. What it feels like what it would take for you to change the game in your life is it would be a mountain. For me to get my health back, it's going to be a mountain. For my partner and I to get back to where we were, it's going to be a mountain, and it's going to be ugly, and I just don't want it. What it's going to take for me to reverse the debt, it's a mountain. For me to build my business up to $1 million months, it's going to be a mountain. And so we're trying to avoid what we imagine it's going to take. But we don't know what it's going to take. We just imagine we know what it's going to take. So how we really utilize this experiment in this round is you're going to find out where your knots are. And instead of looking at them the way you normally would and say, oh gosh, let's not look at that right now. Or let's just listen to what Melanie would say about knots. Let's hope my knot magically comes undone because she said something smart. It's like, no matter how smart I am, you need to be listening to me as you untangle the knots, or else the knot stays intact, but you feel light for a moment. That's not the point of this experiment. So you're going to actually do the things here. If what you wrote is that, like, okay, it's my body's the thing, then I want you to really think, if I did not have shame about my body whatsoever, if it were possible somehow to click my fingers and have the body that I want, how would I be treating that body? Do I immediately think, well, then I would happily go to the gym, or I would happily go for a walk, because then I'd be able to wear cute Lululemon stuff and I would feel proud of my body at the gym, so I would go. I can already tell how I would eat. If my body was exactly the way that I wanted, I would have this kind of breakfast, this kind of lunch. This is what I would do, because it would be easy, because I would already be doing it. All I would need to do is maintain it. If I already had that, then I would be doing this. In your relationship, if you're saying, look, if my marriage was going well, I think maybe we'd book a trip together. I think we'd spend time, we'd go on date nights. I think that's what we would do. Like, if things were good, I think we'd just sit on the couch and cuddle and even just watch TV. Even it wouldn't even matter. It would just feel like there's nothing in the way anymore. I would just love him. I would just love my partner. I would share things. If it were good, but we'd have to get there, and it's such a mountain. If I were already successful, I'd be thinking about my next program, and I'd be going live, and I'd be serving people, and I'd be writing posts without thinking about it, and I'd be making offers if I were already successful. So the thing that's stopping you is how you feel about the fact that you don't have what you want. But if you can imagine yourself driving a car, going from where you live to the edge of your street, and you say, I'm going to drive from my house to the end of the street. That feels like a very simple task. But if I say you've got to drive from where you are to the end of your street, but you have to avoid the road, well, that becomes a little more complicated. There is shame on the road. You cannot avoid the shame. But as you work through things, you will become less shameable. you'll realize some of this stuff doesn't matter. You just were picking it up and making it mean stuff and making knots all the time, all the time, all the time. But if I say go from where you live to the edge of your street, you know the clear direction. When I say by avoiding the road, all of a sudden this is extremely complex. So how do I treat my body properly while avoiding how I feel about my body? You don't. That's why you're in the situation you're in. How do I heal what's going on in my marriage, but avoiding just being happy in my marriage? Well, I can't do that because there's all this stuff that's been going on that's wrong. I can't. Okay, well, this is why we're where we are in the marriage. How do I make more money without feeling the way I feel about money? You don't. You've got to actually just let go of all of the things that you say. The reason I don't do it is because I feel this and I feel this and I don't want to feel this and I don't want to feel this. You can't not feel this. This is the road right now. Right now, it's a bumpy road. It's a bumpy road with shame on it. But the only way to not drive on it is to try to get to the edge of your road by avoiding the road. We can't do that. You're going to run over people. You're going to ruin flower beds. You're going to fall in ditches. It's not safe and it's not worth it. We drive on the road. And right now, it's a road through some of the things you've tried to avoid for a very long time. But that's okay because we're all doing it. Whatever it is that you're thinking, even if someone said, and I know some of you are going and making things a little more like philosophical, I would really keep these things extremely tangible. So even if for you, it's like my freedom. Well, what's costing you your freedom? So if for you, it's time, like I'm so busy, I have no time, then okay, your thing is time. If for you, it's money. I don't have money freedom. I can't go anywhere because I don't have any money. I can't go anywhere because I don't have any time. So the thing we're looking for is tangible things: money, time, relationship, body, like things that you could do something about. And why I want us to start with those things is because this is how we're going to measure whether you're taking action or not. Clarity isn't really tangible. So clarity about what? Like clarity about what you want to do. So the thing wouldn't be clarity, it would be your business, right? So money, your business. And so if you're like, my self-doubt, well, what are you doubting? Well, if you had no doubt, what would you be doing? You'll have the answers right away. So confidence, well, if you had the confidence, what would you be doing with that confidence? I'd be building a business or I'd be having a relationship. The things that are non-tangible are usually because you would use them to do something. What's the thing you feel unable to do because you don't have the confidence or you don't have the clarity or you don't have the freedom? Your relationship, your body, your money, tangible things. And why we're going to do this is because you're going to feel all the feelings that you're feeling sometimes pop up. I'm not confident. Well, what is confidence? Confidence is, I believe I'm not going to be ashamed. I believe this is going to go well enough that I won't be ashamed. Not confident is, I know how this is going to go and I'm going to end up embarrassed. Confidence, like, I'm not going to be embarrassed. I know what I'm doing. So I want you to have the things that you want in this life. I really want you to have them. But we've got to figure out what's in the way of them. And you might try to self-diagnose and be like, oh, it's because I don't have clarity. But then let's go get clarity. Let's go try something on. I don't have confidence. Okay. But do you know you'd be okay if you failed? Yes. Then you have confidence. Well, I don't feel confident. No, that's because we had to have the whole discussion. You didn't just immediately know you'd be okay. But once we talked about it, you realized you'd be okay. This is still confidence. It's delayed confidence, but still confidence. So whatever it is that your thing is, I want you to try with all of your heart to not have the story that you've tried and you've failed, but rather I would love you to pick up the story that you have an experiment to conduct. An experiment about your body, an experiment about your relationship, an experiment about your money, an experiment about whatever it is. One where we're just going to see what would happen if you acted from what you wanted instead of what we were trying to avoid. So if there's something you want to say to the world, what would it look like if when shame is stopping you or shame is trying to change what you would have initially said, you look and you say, even if I felt like people didn't get this, would I be okay? Yes. And then you post it anyway. If you have a business, but you're blocked and you're not letting yourself sit and create, if you say, well, what if I created something and once I'd created it all, I decided I don't even want to do it. No pressure. Then can I allow myself to create? Sure. Let's do it. This is where you just need to face the thing you think you're embarrassed about. And I will tell you, no matter what, it's shame at the end. Even people who are like, I don't think it's shame. It's shame. It's always shame. It's always shame. It doesn't matter what it is. You'll say, it's not shame for me. It's more like, I'm just tired of being disappointed, you know? Yes. And when you're disappointed, again, how do you feel? Embarrassed. What's another word for that? Shame. We got it. For me, it's not shame. It's more like frustration. Okay. So what does that look like? Well, like for example, I'm frustrated because I've tried so many times and no matter how much I try, it doesn't work for me. Okay. So what are you frustrated about? That it didn't work for me. So you feel it should have worked for you. Yes. And so when you think something should have worked, but it didn't, how do you feel? Embarrassed. Embarrassed is another word for shame. Oh yeah. You know what? I think I've just had enough. For me, it's not shame. I'm just over it. I've had enough. I just think I'm just not going to do it anymore. Why not? Because I just can't take it anymore. Take what? How I feel. How do you feel? Discouraged. Discouraged from what? From everything not working. Okay. So how does it feel when nothing is working? Discouraging. Right. But how do you feel when you feel discouraged? Like, I don't want to do it anymore. Why don't you want to do it anymore? Because I don't want to feel it anymore. Feel what? What it feels like when things don't work. What's that called? Shame. If you could just face that, you're free. We're all navigating the same freaking thing, called something else, looked something else, it's all shame. I'm embarrassed that I let myself be disappointed one more time. I'm so sick of feeling ashamed of myself. I don't think I even want to go for my dreams anymore. I'm so embarrassed that this hasn't happened for me yet that I want to give up. I'm so done. Shame, 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 shame. For me, it's not shame. It's more like visibility. What about visibility? Well, no one sees me. Well, how does that feel? Embarrassing. We're back to shame. For me, it's visibility. What about visibility? Well, I'm afraid the wrong people are going to see me. Well, who are the wrong people? People who don't get it. Well, how would you feel if the wrong people saw your stuff? Embarrassed. It's another word for shame. Oh yeah. So if we can actually realize this, we're going to do this work, but we're not going to do it all in the same monotone. Let's work on our shame. Hi ho, it's off to work we go. We're all ashamed. Our life is sad. Hi ho. Like, we're not going to do that. And we're not going to break through. It's just going to feel like this boring conversation. And we're not going to get that. We're not going to get anywhere with that. So there will be times where we look at the shame face on, and there's other times we're going to get real creative. Today on the call, we talked about shame, but we talked about it through storytelling. We went through incredible arcs where it's like, look, this is what my mother used to go through. And look, this is why I wouldn't make $1 million a month. Why? Because I'm ashamed that I'm not worthy, because I'm this and this. What's that word you said? Shame. I haven't been making enough money and I can't get the bread and my husband is trying so hard. And why do people have purses and blah, 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 blah. Shame that I'm not making the money I had when I was working over there and that I've attached money to worth and shame. So we're going to find it, but we're going to replace it with something else, which is an experiment. You don't even need to change it to like, I'm free, if that's not how you feel. You can change it to, okay, I see that that's the way I've done it this far. And I am going to just take an experiment about my money, an experiment about my body and my relation to it, an experiment about my health, an experiment about my marriage. I'm not going to do things in the same way. We're going to do it a little softer. And we're not going to do things in order to succeed. We're going to do things in order to find out what the result is. That's what an experiment is. The bigger context is eventually you'll get some data and you'll know what works and what doesn't. But what's a real experiment is what happens when you do this. Like in a science lab, if you say, what happens if you put milk and chlorine? Well, you could say that an explosion is a success and you could say that explosion is a failure. Depends what you were hoping for. That's the experiment. We're not going to judge whether what happened or not. We're not going to judge if what we did worked or not. We're just going to experiment and see what happens. So when I'm completely riddled in guilt and feel like I'm unworthy of all things, somehow, for some reason, money doesn't come. Noted. When I hold a grudge against my partner, don't tell them how I feel because I expect in advance that he's going to mess it all up. And I'm too done with feeling annoyed and upset and embarrassed that I believe that he's going to change and then he never does. So I've been giving him the silent treatment. I don't even know if he's noticed. And the outcome of that is I don't feel very good. Noted. I am going to just look at my partner differently for a little bit, just until the next experiment. This doesn't need to be grand gestures. Here's what I want you to do. If you are in a relationship, I want you to just see how much you can find to love in your partner between now and the next call. Just how much is there to be grateful for? What are the good moves that you made? And if you're really struggling, ask yourself where you may have, in order to not be embarrassed yourself, caused your partner to experience so much shame that they've lost all their confidence in the relationship. And be like, oh, He used to be so romantic. Yeah, but then I made him feel guilty every time he bought me flowers and now he doesn't buy them for me anymore. Oops. He used to be so funny. Yeah, but then he made jokes when he was uncomfortable and I shamed him when he did that. And now he feels embarrassed about any kind of humor. Oh yeah. He used to take charge and take me places and trust. Yeah, but then I was disappointed every place he told me and took me, and then I always had something to say about it. So he asked me to take charge. I forgot about that. What would happen if you just saw your partner and looked for the gold? Same thing with your financial situation. I want you to actually, no matter how little money you have, does not even matter. What's something that you could do? Even if it's like you're going to go on a walk and you're going to go to the dollar store and you're going to buy yourself a candle. And you're going to come back home with your one candle. You're going to place it somewhere and you're going to sit and journal by candlelight and just experience the smell and the flicker of the candle. That's it. And I want you to experience the pleasure of having a dollar. Walk down there with your dollar, your $5, whatever it is, and feel the joy maybe you felt months ago, far away ago when you were a little kid and it was like, I could buy anything. And you buy this one candle. Or if it makes you happy to buy a single flower and walk all the way home with it and put it in a little vase. If it's more about just life in general, just feeling free, I want you to go for a walk and see if you can find a beautiful rock on the floor or pick a field flower. Let's bring you back to basics so you can actually see how fast you can change your situation. Today, we had 2 examples of how through a conversation, we were able to untangle a knot. Now, what I'd love for you to do is just see where you can source gratitude. I got a dollar. I got a dollar. I got a dollar. Hey, 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 hey. Whether you go somewhere with a beautiful interior or a beautiful view and purchase a cup of tea and just sit there and drink a cup of tea in a beautiful setting, even if it's in a beautiful hotel lobby and you're like, go downtown, wherever downtown is, find one of the most beautiful hotels and go sit and have a cup of tea with a beautiful surrounding. Go in the woods and see if you can find yourself a meaningful rock that could be a gratitude stone. Just see how simple it can be, but your job between now and our next call is to gather moments of joy that you did not use the story of you can't because of ... And if that story comes up, you say, what could I do that would be disproving of that? Well, I can't do anything right now. I have no money. Could you put 25 cents in a gumball machine? And then just smell the gum if you don't eat it? Remember what that felt like? Can you bring the gumball home, put it on your counter and just say, I got a gumball today for 25 cents. And there's a version of me about 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago that would have been doing cartwheels right now. And I'm reconnecting to that part of me. Lighter, lighter. You want to make millions? Go lighter. Be grateful, be happy with little, and you'll get so much. The more you need in order to be happy, the harder it gets. So let's go back to basics. There's going to be a thread in here that are just for your pockets of joy. Tiny little pockets of joy. You can post as often as you want. Maybe you find a dollar in your coat pocket. Maybe you realize you have, I don't know, some of your favorite electrolytes in the cupboard that you thought you had no more and you find them. Maybe you realize the avocados are on sale and you get to buy 2 instead of 1 and they're the perfect texture. Maybe you find the perfect textured avocado. Maybe you find the most beautiful flower you've ever seen at the flower shop and you buy it for yourself and you walk home with it and you take pictures of it everywhere, next to your little journal, next to your coffee cup, next to your this, la la la. Pockets of joy. You ran yourself a bath and you were uninterrupted for a whole 7 minutes. Oh. You washed your hair in the shower and you had a good cry and you just feel reborn. You washed your sheets, you shaved your legs, you got into bed and your sheets were so soft and your legs were so soft and you feel like a teenager again. Oh. You had extra time to do your makeup and the little lines, the little eyeliner lines, they're even. The little simple pleasures of life. You had a real cuddle with your partner, a real one, like you really felt you meant it when you hugged them. You look at them in the eye and you said, I love you. And you meant it more than you've meant it in a really long time. You tucked your kids in and when you put them to bed, you really experienced them and who they are at this age, in this moment. You smelled their hair, you cuddled them, you said, I love you so much. And you knew in that moment, that's a memory you won't forget. You made a pancake and you nailed it. Didn't burn the pancake, it was perfect. And you show picture evidence. You play a song that you love and you realize you know all the words by heart, still after all these years. You take a selfie and when you look at it, you're like, hey, I love this selfie. I didn't need to put a filter on it. I didn't need to do anything to it. I just love it. I love the way I look on that. I am so happy. You sit and doodle, or you cuddle, you color, and you don't go outside the lines, and you're all happy because you drew this beautiful little thing. You go for a walk. You get your steps in for the day. Whatever it is, you realize that was good. And we are going to stack these life experiences one on top of the other because we need them for the next piece. I will tell you right now that if you do not do this, when we get to the next part, you'll realize it doesn't land because you haven't done this bit yet. So there's not much of a point taking this experiment if you don't do the experiment. You will have things to report, even if you don't like it. Even if you're like, Melanie, I did your stupid exercise and it didn't work. I never felt happy or grateful, not one time. At least you'll have something to say instead of, didn't do it. And if you say that you don't have time, then your experiment is to simply play a song for however long you have time, even if it's just 20 seconds, and sing to your favorite song for 20 seconds. But I'm pretty sure you've got 3 minutes. Find time to play one song from tip to tail that you love. Move your body, sing to it, close your eyes, remember what that song represents. Just that. If your thing is I have no time, your only assignment is to listen to a song you love from beginning to end and really let yourself feel it. That's it. And this thread will be called Pockets of Bliss. How about that? Pockets of Bliss. Pockets of bliss, no matter how small. It can be big things too, if you want. Something huge happens to you. But I just want you to know, I won't be applauding you harder because you bought something big or you manifested something big, because they all feel the same. Big, little, they're pockets of bliss. As a matter of fact, the big ones are easier. So if you put the big ones, I will celebrate with you, but I will hope you still put small ones on there. The smaller, the better, because that means you were really present to see them and to feel them. So in this energy, go live the rest of your evening. See how much love you can find, how much fullness you can find, how long you can go without picking any shame up at all and just feeling the feelings of what beauty might I see today. And I shall see you in the group on our Pockets of Bliss thread and on the other pre-work that ends up being posted. Thank you for being here. Thank you to those who came up and shared. I appreciate you so much. And I will see you very soon.